Let's be real for a second. Dealing with school bureaucracy can sometimes feel a lot like preparing for a root canal while trying to solve a Rubik's Cube, right? But it absolutely does not have to be that way. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to completely demystify the New Jersey school enrollment process. We are using the state's official guidance to break everything down step by step, so what usually feels like a daunting, overwhelming task becomes completely stress-free. Okay, let's dive right in.
So you might be asking yourself right off the bat, is school enrollment actually complicated? I mean, it can definitely feel like a frantic paperwork scramble, especially if you're trying to coordinate a move with a kindergartner literally running circles around your legs. But the process is actually surprisingly straightforward. You have to remember, the system is fundamentally designed to welcome your child into the classroom, not to block them at the door. And honestly, just understanding that underlying intent changes everything about how you approach this whole thing.
Here is exactly how we're breaking it all down today. 1. The core requirement of residency. 2. Gathering paperwork. 3. Immunizations and grades. 4. Special situations. And 5. We'll wrap up with a success checklist.
Okay, let's get into Section 1, our core requirement, residency. This is all about establishing your child's legal right to attend a specific public school. Now, what's really fascinating here is this concept of domicile. Domicile, where your physical residency, is the absolute legal anchor for everything else we're going to talk about today. It simply means you live within the boundaries of the school district, which establishes the lawful basis for your kid to actually attend public school there. And why is this so strictly guarded? Well, it comes down to funding. Public schools are funded by local property taxes, so districts are legally obligated to protect those boundaries and make sure resources are going to actual residents. This right here is the foundation for every other step in the process.
So, the big question, how do you actually prove this connection to a local address? You've got several solid options. You'll need standard documents like a lease, a mortgage, or a deed. A property tax bill works perfectly too. And yes, even in our highly digital, completely paperless age, tracking down that elusive physical utility bill remains the absolute gold standard for school front offices. You can also use a landlord letter, or if you happen to be in a non-traditional living arrangement, things like court orders or sworn affidavits work just fine.
This really brilliantly illustrates the state's whole philosophy. The goal is simply to establish eligibility. It is not to create unnecessary barriers that keep kids out of class. Keeping this mindset in your back pocket really helps lower your stress level when you're talking with the school administration. Remember, they want your kid in a seat just as much as you do. Moving right along to Section 2, gathering paperwork. Let's look at the specific documents you need beyond just proving where you live. Picture this. It's registration day. You've waited in a long line and you suddenly realize, oh no, I'm missing one specific document. Look, don't panic. The crucial point here is that if you are acting in good faith and your child is otherwise eligible, missing a single piece of paper won't necessarily stop the enrollment process in its tracks. In most cases, the district can get things moving while you run home or call to track down that last form. Let's look at a number that usually brings a huge sigh of relief to parents: 30. If you've just moved and you simply cannot find the birth certificate because it's buried somewhere in a sea of cardboard moving boxes, your child isn't sidelined. You actually have a full 30-day grace period from initial enrollment to provide a certified birth certificate or an equivalent proof of identity. So you have an entire month to finalize that specific piece of the puzzle. Pretty great, right?
All right, on to Section 3, immunizations and grades. Let's see how health and academic records build on those foundational steps we just covered.
Health requirements are essentially non-negotiable foundations for public health in our schools. You absolutely must provide immunization records under state regulations. Usually, you just get these straight from your pediatrician. And this has to happen before attendance. Now, that being said, valid medical and religious exemptions are safely accepted, provided they actually meet the state's specific guidelines. But keep in mind, if records are incomplete and you don't have an approved exemption, your child's attendance might actually be delayed.
Beyond health, we have to look at age and grade placement factors. Age strictly dictates kindergarten and first grade entry. There are hard cutoffs there, no exceptions. Meanwhile, older students are going to need prior educational records so the school can ensure they are placed in the correct grade level. High school is a bit more involved, obviously, requiring transcript reviews for graduation planning. But the key takeaway here is progress over perfection. Missing educational records won't automatically block your enrollment. Districts will generally get your student in a seat first, and then they can adjust the placement later if they need to.
That brings us to Section 4, Special Situations. Let's explore what happens when families face non-traditional circumstances or if they choose entirely different educational paths.
For students who are experiencing homelessness or displacement, New Jersey allows for immediate enrollment if a choice seat is available, which completely bypasses the usual deadlines. For students in foster care, there is special state guidance explicitly designed to reduce disruption and keep them connected to their education. And if you're applying to choice schools, it's absolutely crucial to recognize that this is a separate application process entirely from your standard resident district enrollment. You can't just use the normal forms for that.
Now, if you're looking outside traditional public schools, it's vital to distinguish between two terms that people mix up all the time. Homeschooling is an educational program provided entirely at home by the family. Home instruction, on the other hand, is a temporary arrangement provided by the school system itself. It's used for health, treatment, court, or disciplinary reasons. Knowing the difference between these two is absolutely key to understanding your legal obligations.
And remember, private schools are a whole different ballgame. They have their own unique admission checklists. While they definitely do operate within certain state laws and health requirements, they manage their own distinct admissions processes. Assume nothing transfers perfectly. You should always make a phone call directly to the private school's front office instead of just assuming they use the standard public school forms. One size definitely does not fit all here.
Okay, finally, Section 5, the Success Checklist. Let's wrap up with a highly actionable plan to make this administrative journey as stress-free as humanly possible.
Honestly, just follow these 3 straightforward steps to guarantee a smooth process. Step 1, start gathering that proof of residency early. Seriously, don't wait until August to find your lease. Step 2, get those health and identity records from your pediatrician and dig them out of your filing cabinet. And step 3, always check in directly with your local district. State guidance is a fantastic baseline, but your local registration office has the absolute final say on exactly what specific local forms they might need from you.
As we conclude this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. The state has built a system that is fundamentally designed to welcome your child. But that final mile, that is completely up to you. So, do you know your local district's exact deadlines? Every single district runs on its own precise timeline, so don't let an arbitrary calendar date catch you off guard. Find those dates, gather up your documents, and give your child the stress-free, exciting first day of school they absolutely deserve.